So, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And my topic actually is at an intersection of science, society, as well as healthcare. So, talking about genetics, there has been a great advance in genetics or medical genetics in the past decade, and there have been technologies which previously were just confined to labs, which have actually started coming into routine reproductive practice, as well as not only reproductive testing, but everywhere else as well. Even lifestyle diseases, which we have heard of so much today, obesity, hypertension, and cardiovascular disorders, actually have a uh, polygenic basis, which is multi genetic in factors. So let's just start. The burden of genetic disorders. I mean, we have had statistics today, several statistics, but genetics also, or genetic disorders also are pretty high because there are two things. One is our population is very high, so no rare disease is actually rare. So we have about one third of birth defect individuals in the country, and many of this are actually genetic disorders, either totally or partially. So, appropriate genetic testing at the right time can help detect these disorders and actually reduce the burden of these disorders and prevent or the financial and emotional societal burden. So, stepping back, what is genetics? I think some of you are doctors, some of you are from hospitals. It's just the blueprint of life. We know that all of us are made up of cells, and each of those cells has a nucleus, and inside the nucleus is the blueprint or the DNA. And the DNA has genes which codes for everything that your body does. Okay, all functioning of the body is dependent on this code. So if there are problems in that code, it is that leads to genetic disorders. So I'll just talk about a specific test over here, just to give an illustrative example. There have been tests or there have been societies all around which have recommended that some sort of genetic screening needs to be done for common disorders. There have been tests, but you take the example of a 22-year-old woman, you don't expect her to be carrying a down fetus, right? But of course, there is ultrasound which gives you a risk with for this particular patient, she had an absent nasal bone, and the fetus had absent nasal bone. That is about 10% chance of having Downs. So, but there are other additional tests, the genetic tests, which will actually tell you with a high degree of sensitivity if the fetus is affected. The other example is the same of another elderly primary gravida. In that, you can expect in those individuals, in pregnant women, you can expect higher risk of Downs, but there are sensitive tests such as non-invasive prenatal testing, which can identify these disorders early. So this specific test is called non-invasive because you just take a blood sample from the mother and look for disorders. Now it has, the scope of this is expanding. Previously, it was just been for trisomy 21, 18, 13, but it can screen for a lot of conditions. So MedGenome as such has been pioneering in this, and we have had studies with, I mean, how do you introduce a genetic test in a country which is not so familiar? What we did was we worked with institutes, 10 different institutes, including AIIMS and PGI Chandigarh, and had research studies which actually showed how effective these tests are in our populations as well. So, one of the common challenges that people state is, oh, these tests should be expensive. But as with everything, and with economies of scale, with increasing volume, with competition, and with indigenous methods of detection, there has been a drastic fall, and this test has become affordable to most. This is just an example of NIPT, but there have been other tests also, which the costs of test has drastically reduced and become much more affordable. So, in reproductive genetics, other than NIPT, of course, there are other tests. Now, if there is carrier screening is one of the most important tests because these are silent individuals who are asymptomatic. They don't have any disorder themselves, but they realize that once they give birth to a child who is severely affected. So carrier screening actually is very important. Different societies or different groups are actually have propensity to develop different disorders. Like there are pockets of thalassemia, there may be pockets of other disorders. So and in India there are two other things: endogamy. We tend to marry within the community, and also consanguinity. That means marry a relative. So in that case, certain disorders like autosomal recessive disorders become more common, and carrier screening actually is very useful in this. And certain populations in different parts of the country, for example, Cyprus, have reduced the burden of thalassemia to a great extent, and also cystic fibrosis in Ashkenazi Jews. So this is by carrier screening. So implementation of carrier screening will become very important. So couples at risk will have the information that they are at risk, and then they can take appropriate reproductive decisions, maybe get naturally pregnant, do prenatal testing, or going for another critical genetic test, which is pre-implantation genetic testing. So when the disorder is already known, the genetic disorder is already known, uh, embryos which are created through IVF can actually be biopsied and tested, and we can look for proper chromosome number as well as presence or absence of the specific variant, and then recommend those for transfer. So in addition to this, of course, there are different tests which need, the detection, the kind of abnormality can be detected by different tests. Now, of course, all this needs appropriate implementation at the correct place, and that is where genetic counseling comes in. Genetic counseling is very important for patients to understand what are the risks, what are the options, and what are the implications or the type of results that they may get on genetic testing. So, look, at this forum, it is just appropriate to speak about these other things, is integration of this test into routine pregnancy care. Now we know, I myself have written guidelines along with FOGSI, that is Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology of India, to implement or use these tests, especially in IPT, in their practice, because it has the highest sensitivity of detecting the most common disorders. And it should also come into regulatory framework. So by regulatory framework, there is one national health policy for rare diseases, which actually covers 63 disorders, but there are more than 7,000 rare disorders which are present. And like I said, in India, nothing is rare because of the sheer numbers. So in addition to that, if these tests can be covered by insurance companies, it can help, allow more people to benefit from the tests. In addition to that, of course, there are R&D options where more affordable and relevant tests be developed for our population. So that's it. Of course, non-invasive, why I insisted on this test is because a simple blood test from a pregnant woman can eventually be able to pick most of genetic disorders. And I also wanted to add a couple of lines on other disorders. It's not only pregnancy or finding abnormalities during the fetal stage. It is a lot of other disorders like cancer and cardiovascular diseases and many other disorders actually have a genetic cause. And we are moving towards finding or at least diagnosing this accurately as quickly as possible. Thank you.